Hello everyone, my name is Alexander Herranz from Austria, and today I will talk about self-sovereign identity for circular economy. Self-sovereign identity, also known by its acronym SSI, it's a lot of important nowadays in any kind of digital collaboration space, and especially in circular ecosystem, because we need trusted digital participants in order to identify who is accessing or sharing the involved data. In order to create trust across different organizations, we need also a very solid and foundational base of digital identity in order to enable a secure collaboration at a scale. And in this topic, blockchain also plays a very important role in providing trust across the network. SSI gives user control over their own credentials because we can understand the self-sovereign identity as a portable identity which is owned by the user, who is the real owner of the identity and not the issuer of this identity. Because all we know, the identity that we can get by an important provider like Google, for example, and the identity always relies on the issuer of the identity, who is the same, who owns the identity, also who the only one who can verify the identity. So all the works is done by the same third party who owns the control of the identity and not the end user, who is the real owner of that identity. So identity gives user control back over their own identity by providing verifiable credentials. Identity does not depend on one central authority like Google, Facebook, or any other one, a social identity provider, for example. Credentials always stay under the control of the holder, and the data is only shared when the user wants to do it, not at any time. And this supports the digital sovereignty by design. The core building blocks in order to do this are the digital identifiers for issuers, holders, and verifiers, the verifiable credentials, which contains the trusted digital claims, which are issuers by one organization to one end user, the verifiable presentation that share only selected proofs with others that can be verified by anyone, W3C standards that ensure also the interoperability across the systems using the same metadata. And also the identity becomes portable, reusable, and verifiable. Why blockchain is needed here with self-sovereign identity? Because the blockchain acts as the shared trust layer, where the information is recorded in order to instant credential verification and supports immutable proof of issuance and the status of that credentials, because the issuer can revoke or make any update in that identity. It reduces also the dependence on manual checks, because the full cycle can be automated, and also helps a lot to preventing fraud in order to avoid credential tampering. How the typical identity flow works? Well, an authorized user, for example, one organization, can create a digital credentials which is received by the end user, who receive it and can claim it in a wallet, storing the credential cryptographically secure by the holder in the wallet. And then any verifier can check the authenticity of the credential on the blockchain, verifying if the credential is already valid, is not revoked, it is still valid, or whatever use case. And there is no direct call to the user to do this process, because the credential status can be verified at any time, but by the verifier without requesting the issuer of the credential participating in that verification process, making it totally decentralized and giving back to the end user the full control of the credential and the identity. So the user can control its identity based on credentials through the wallet, which is the cryptographic digital identity container, which contains the different credentials that are stored, encrypted, and securely in the wallet. The holder decides what to share and when. So the user does not need any kind of password because to perform any kind of identity action. Just present the credential and it's done. So the identity then becomes more secure but also user centric, and that's the main approach of verifiable credentials. The lifecycle management and revocation of the credentials works as the following. Credentials can be active, suspended, or revoked. They can have different status. And the issuers of the credentials can update the credential for, when it's needed. For example, when the driving license is suspended or by any reasons. So an authorized party, authorized issuer, is the only one who can make any kind of modifications or update the status of the credentials, and those status changes are recorded immutably, also to have an even log of the history of the credentials in order to be also verified. And verifiers can always check the latest state in order to know if the credential is still valid or not, and why not, for example. The trust is maintained over the full credential life cycle, having a full traceability and a full history of the credential. So why is this important in circular economy projects? Because it helps a lot to prove who participates in the ecosystem, how much, or in which way. It enables also a trusted access to the marketplaces and services, knowing who can participate or who can perform some actions or not. Also supports certified roles in circular value chains, and helps to prove also the compliance and any kind of environmental claims about what actions were performed by one organizations or another, in order of having the different credentials in the wallets, proving some kind of action of contribution or I don't know, any kind of task in any step of the circular process, and also reduce a lot of frictions between ecosystem partners, enabling them to easily verify the different actions that must need to be executed or performed, for example. This kind of self-sovereign identity is full aligned with European main regulations and the European identity model. Europe, for example, has different initiatives like EI-2 and UDIC wallet that are proposed in order how this kind of identity should be used in a legal way, and it follows, of course, the W3C credential standards, and in this case, this is totally compatible with broader European trust frameworks. Also, to improve the scalability and the adoption following the main standards, and that's the work that we have done also in Circuloos project from Austria in order to provide a wallet for circularity ecosystems aligned with European regulation like EIDAS-2, the wallet, and following the W3C credential standards. In our case, the Circuloos identity architecture works as the following. Alarse provides the blockchain layer, which is the trust infrastructure where we store the credentials to be verified. Smart contracts manage the trust and the credential status, enabling the issuers, for example, to update or to issue new credentials or to update the status of any of the previously issued credentials. The wallet technology also enables secure user interaction. Verification services enables any kind of decentralized check and the result is a trusted digital identity for circular collaboration in these kinds of projects in order to enable an ecosystem of different kinds of participants working together and collaborating and being able to verify the work of each one at any moment. So, to sum up, we need to know that circular economy needs trusted digital relationships in order to identify the participants, identify their actions, and to have a great traceability, but with decentralized demonstrations of those actions. Self-sovereign identity gives control back to users and to organizations of their identity in order to have a portable identity that is not controlled by anyone, and verifiable credentials make trust portable and instant in order to verify any topic at any moment very quickly. And also blockchain as a technology makes the verification auditable and resilient, proving all the processes and registering all the event logs of the related with the identity. And together, verifiable credentials and blockchain can provide the self-sovereign identity ecosystem that scale, that enable secure data sharing, and that enable the needed collaboration for circular economy projects. I hope this presentation was useful for all of you and to provide a better understanding of digital identity based on blockchains and how it's enabled the self-sovereign identity. Thank you so much.